Welcome to Shortys SuperCoach and welcome to Shortys press conference. It's a bit of a video I'll be doing on the Monday or the Tuesday, the first day after round one or the round that has just gone by. And it's where I'll have a look at my team, discuss some pros and cons of the weekend and how it's all tracking along, perhaps trade ideas, but more so from the weekend just gone by. I'll focus more on when the SuperCoach HQ League gets its head-to-head stuff going, because rather than just focusing on myself, which is a little self-indulgent, we might focus in on the match that I played during the week and how I went on the weekend in that league, and of course link it up to the website. So a bit of interest on how we're all going as well, but more of a look at my team, of course, in the graphic side of things. Here is my team anyway. I'm just having a look at it now. You guys are of course having a look at it for the first time. I've discussed a lot of things through pre-season and things like that. This is my first video where we are locked out. We got 30 trades and that's what we got to work with. And this is what I've got to work with my team. I mean, you can have a bit of a look. I of course have the screenshots up of my side that you can check out while I have a bit of a chat about it. And look, overall I scored 2,047, which ranks me around that 70,000 mark, which look, of course isn't fantastic off round one, but you know, I also didn't have a lot of the gun players that went really well. Of course, Nick Nat, Dangerfield, Prittis, Aaron Hall, Johannesson and Ben Kennedy were all popular ones, which I would imagine a lot of the top 10,000 scorers would have had. But look, I had 14 guys who scored between 85 and 105, as you can see, a lot in the midfield. I'm certainly happy with that defence. I'm pretty happy with the Lonergan selection. Birchall's unique. Bartel, I like the role he was playing coming off the centre bounce there. And Daniel Rich was arguably the Brisbane Lions' best player in a pretty tough day at the office against West Coast. Ablett did what he does, and look, you can have a look at that midfield. I think they can all improve, aside from Ablett and Lieber, who led the way, can all improve 20 to 30 points easily on average. Brad Crouch only scored 72, but he attended 21 centre bounces. I'm happy with that. Mills was impressive. Penderbury, like many, had a poor day. Rockcliffe was a tad off. Shield was okay, could have used it better, and Ollie Wines I thought did okay. Moving down to Maxi Gawn, he was impressive. Leuenberger struggled. In that forward line, Wells, Gray, Franklin, Martin were all okay. I mean, Wells was very good. You take 99 points from a guy at that price. But all my premiums had okay days. Barlow, of course, struggled along with Fife. I don't have Fife, but a lot of people would be really filthy on that one. And Kerridge was outstanding. So look, of course, had those 14 players who scored okay, and that was probably, while my score wasn't amazing by any means, I think you can't take it off one round. I mean, you're still 200 points away from the top 10,000. That can be made up in 1 week, no dramas. So I think as long as you scored over sort of 2,000, you're no dramas. I mean, people have big weeks. Other players have great games that may not in other weeks. I think it was relatively consistent from some of the really top-end performers. Some of the really good picks we selected did deliver. But I believe I'll be there and abouts in the next few weeks, just looking to, sort of settle things down in the rankings over the coming weeks. Of course, I'll be starting slightly behind the pack with not a poor week this weekend, but just didn't have that big top-end scorers. Only 4 blokes scored 100. I mean, thankfully I whacked a C on Ablett, who outscored the rest of my team by 30 odd points, basically, aside from Libber, who was pretty handy as well. Take a look at my bench. I think the back line is pretty stock standard. Brown, Adams, Tipping Woody. Had Oscar McDonald mainly because I opted not go for Wiedering, who was impressive, mind you. And that basically, once the real selections came out, no Hartley, no Broad, no Ruggles, of course, left me with the options to take a risk or play a guy that, perhaps might not be as proven or talked about in Oscar McDonald, but is starting. And disappointing that he got injured, and he probably is doubtful for round 2, but I like his job security, and I think he plays a decent role from everything I was reading. So hopefully he's not out for too long. Take a look at the midfield options. Corey Ellis is perhaps a unique one there that I mentioned briefly at times, but he really was a latecomer when I saw he was named on the ground and added in with Richmond's injury list. I thought he could get some serious minutes in the midfield, and he only scored the 59 points, but I think he did enough to keep his spot, and I'm pretty happy with that selection. Hewitt was great. Davis was not too bad, and Papley was, of course, a standout. who I denied really. I thought about, oh gee, a small forward, is he a good pick? I don't know. Almost picked him just out of pure necessity to have someone playing, so that was interesting. Kerridge was brilliant, really. He is certainly a good cog in that Carlton midfield by the looks of it. And I've opted to keep Petrarca. I know many of you will say that AFL article said he will be brought through the VFL for a month. I highly doubt that, and I expect to see him play probably round 3. If not, if he tears the track up this week, he could be in line a game against the Bombers, but I would expect him to be back around round 3 in AFL. You don't deny a guy who's in great form and such a talent in the VFL. You don't waste him there. So, look, I'm pretty happy with my side, to be honest. Everyone has those real last-minute umming and ahhing on players, and you just hope that you make the right call. Even after such a long pre-season, we think about so much. My main skeptical sort of pick was Leuenberger, and he proved to be. Only scored 57 points. He played more ruck than I expected, which is promising. Probably struggled with the match fitness side of things. I was at local footy, so I didn't get to see that game, but look, I think he's got a lot to build on. He wasn't unbelievable. I mean, Zach Smith would have been a very good pick, who was an extra 100-odd K ahead of him. But I'll stand by Louis there. Look, if I have to change my team around next week or something like that and really need to find 100k to bring him in, I might try and do that, but I'd say it's highly doubtful. I'm one, you spend months and months picking your team for round 1, and then you see so many people pull the trigger and trade in round 1, trade in round 2. They use 2 trades in both weeks, and absolute knee-jerk stuff. Back yourself in, which I've stressed all pre-season. Look, did my team tear the game to shreds? Absolutely not. Do I think this team will finish top 10,000? Absolutely do. I still believe I'll finish top 1,000. Of course, I think some of these players had okay weeks. They were modest weeks. They weren't the best players going round. But I won't be hitting the trade button this weekend. No real long-term injuries. McDonald probably won't play. Buddy had a bit of a knock, but that's okay. Bartel came off with concussion, as did Lonergan, but they should be fine. Played out the game, all those last 3 players. So look, from an overall point of view, I'm pretty happy with my side. Almost buoyed by some of the performances by the younger trio on the bench, because they are just as important as scoring some points, because down the track they can make some serious coin and allow me to upgrade certain players on the starting field. So I think there's a lot of improvement to come from that midfield and forward line in particular. I'll certainly take 88 plus from all my 4 top-end defenders. I'd certainly take that. Just need a lift from the likes of Pendlebury, Wines, Crouch, Rockcliffe, probably Dustin Martin as well, and definitely Barlow. So Shorty Superstars will be putting the heat on them during the week, and hopefully we'll rebound and score over 2,200 would be nice. Of course, it's all dependent on how the round plays out, but from a round 1 point of view, we'll take it. It's about a par. It was probably, we hit the tee shot in the bunker, up and out. Not too bad. We made the putt. So it was looking dangerous at times. I felt I could have been dropping behind the 8 ball early on and looked like could have a few injuries as well. But they did come back onto the ground. So overall, I'll take it. There's improvement to come, but there's a look at my team anyway. I'll touch on a few of the leagues that I'm in. Shorty SuperCoach leagues. We've got 3 of them now. Number 1, Craig, top scored there. Crave Hawks scoring 2,331. In SuperCoach 3, Shorty SuperCoach 3, Jaden of the Blue Bandits scored 2282. Pretty impressive score, mate. But leading the way on all 3 leagues, and he was the leader in Shorty SuperCoach 2 league, was Mark, coaching Jacks there. He just outscored Craig, scoring 2,334. So some promising scores, guys. As far as the SuperCoach HQ league, not much happening at that point. Of course, where we go, Matt Gaseous Clay scored 2,252, topping the league there, but we don't start our head-to-heads still round 3, I believe, where I'll take on Declan. So building up to that, I suppose. That's a bit of a wrap-up of my press conference. As I said, I'll be looking to do that each week. This one's more of an intro and take a look at my team sort of thing and discuss some of the players, but once the season gets cracking and we get more of a body of work, I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more in depth, I suppose. But certainly give me your thoughts on some of my players in the team, and definitely let me know how you went as well. Of course, I'm also a happy Cats man. The Cats had a great victory yesterday that I was there. That was fantastic. If you want to see my thoughts on that game, you can get along to Tizio100. I'll put his link in the description. That's a video as well, so if you're just keen to see what I even look like, you can go along there and have a look. But we review all the Cats games and a few other footy things as well, me and my mates. So feel free to go there. Also feel free to get along to SuperCoach HQ. There's plenty of content going out there. You might even be listening to this one on that website there, because I of course have the link, and if you are, feel free to subscribe to me on my YouTube channel as well. That'd be great. As far as later in the week, our basic setup, I think I'll do the press conference on the Monday or the Tuesday, just depending when games finish and the time I have. Later in the week, probably a video around Thursday or Friday, again depending if I have work and other things like that. But once the teams come out, ideally the Sunday finalised teams, I do it around that Friday 5:30, 6 o'clock mark. I think just before the bounce would be most appropriate. So that's my thoughts there. I'll also, if there's a real pressing issue, if Fife does a hammy and you got to talk about what you do with Fife, I might make a spontaneous video Tuesday or Wednesday, just whenever the feeling is right. But there'll certainly be 2 videos from week to week, and perhaps the odd spontaneous video when I feel necessary. So as always, give the video a like. I love getting a few questions, so let me know your thoughts. I must stress, don't just hit the trade button. Certainly give all your players at least 2 weeks, unless they're long-term injuries, which I don't think there were too many. Swan, Hodge, not many guys would have had them. Side bottom, you'd probably wait it out. It's just 2 weeks. So give me your thoughts. Give the channel a subscribe. That'd be fantastic. Comments always welcome, and I'll talk to you guys later in the week.